always looking for a co-host. My co-host is in and out. He's got some issues, so he's in and out.
Well, then that obviously can't work. We've got to do something
No,
different.
I'm not a good bettor. It's all cash, baby, cash. That's all I work for.
All right, cash. $50. I would put $50 down on this.
Yeah, just remember I'm unemployed.
Me too. So this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, so this is big money. $50 is like right now it's 7 years salary.
Well, I'm waiting for comments because we do need people in the chat to be able to tell us what could be a good wager in this. Maybe watching Cats twice in a row.
No, I didn't even watch it once, but but we have a whole month, so we can get some feedback from people, and we can decide maybe near the end of August before it comes out.
Very true. Well, leave your comments down below while we figure that out. Let's talk about the New Mutants, because they not only put out a little bit of a Comic-Con preview, but they put out 2 minutes of the beginning of the film, which to me kind of felt like the Game of Thrones ice war at the end, just on how you can't see anything that's going on. And then them trying to force in like a weird Last of Us opening where they're like, we got to get out of here. Stuff's gotten real. And then the guy dies right in front of her. Felt like a POV PS4 game.
Felt like a POS.
I would also say the same thing. And I agree with Craig. It's one of those things that need to be on a streaming service type deal like Hulu or something like that. Because after watching that, and waiting so long to see what they were going to do with it, and then all of a sudden you get this thing at Comic-Con for a movie that should technically be like a 10-part episode.
Jay, did you see the clip where they showed you the release dates and were crossing them out one by one and showing the next release date and crossing it out and the next release date and like they were trying to be like, we're really cute, leaning into the whole, we can't release our movie because we don't know what we're doing.
Well, it's not their
fault. Like, what are they doing? Whose fault is it in this case? Like
the third,
when I say they, I mean the creators.
Well, no, it was, the creators have nothing to do with release dates.
Yeah,
the creators in the studio.
Well,
that sounds like Fox. That sounds like Fox.
I think there could be a lot to say about maybe in a director's contract it being a theatrical release. We have no idea what could be in different contracts. Nolan has a theatrical release contract. We all know.
Who's the director?
Josh, is it Josh Boone?
I believe
you don't even know. That's my point.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan gets those kind of things. This Josh Boone guy doesn't barely. Thankfully, he has a job.
Josh Boone,
right now, but
Josh Boone also directed like The Fault in Our Stars, and he's attached to direct The Stand for that TV series for CBS.
Well, The Fault in Our Stars was successful commercially, like in a box office, it did well. But I agree with Craig, it's not enough.
But also, you have to realize that Fox was sold to Disney. And,
during that whole,
and that's why.
That's my thinking. Is it in a contract somewhere where it's got to be theatrical? Where I hate this though is you want to get people sick and also be pissed about a movie. Like, you're going to ruin our immune system by having to go into a theater and get upset about it, stressed out because you had to sit there next to Nancy without a mask and her kids chomping on popcorn and spitting it at you.
And then you got to worry about Karen saying something while you're walking in. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
They spent so much money on reshoots and everything on this. I think they just have to have it theatrical so they can recoup some of their money. And from what I understand, they have a contract where it has to go on HBO Max.
Wait, what? No.
Wait, hold on.
That was dismissed. That was dismissed.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was.
I
read somewhere that was dismissed.
I get why you would bring that up because Dark Phoenix stuck with HBO when it was released.
Well, then Hulu that crap now today.
Yeah, like
really?
See, exactly, Craig. That's exactly it.
Hulu's
needs to be. Yeah, Hulu. It's a Hulu thing.
Yeah, Hulu is Disney's adult outlet. So let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get him on the phone. Hold on a second.
Do it.
Patrick, I just want to touch on like that footage that you were talking about where they're crossing out the dates. You know how ballsy that is? Because like it wasn't like 2 dates. I mean, it was like 5 or 6 different dates.
They started in 2018. Like it was enough time back to where when they started it, we were like, I was watching and going, are they really doing this?
Well, then they're setting themselves up in a position because like if this gets pushed back again, then it's like it's a joke. That's what it is. And like going back to the footage they did release, like the 2 minutes or whatever, I'm like, that's probably the least climatic footage you could have shown for something that has so much anticipation or rumors surrounding it.
Did it just, or was it just me, or did it feel like the movie still started in the middle somewhere? Like, I know that was the first 2 minutes, but it still felt like it started like right in the middle. It made no sense. It was out of context. It was just like,
Yeah, but they
There's
do
a
that a lot.
wolf.
That's
There's two bears. One bear's angry. One bear's happy. Roar!
This guy has no face.
I have to say that the bears were the coolest part of the trailer they
The
released.
trailer was much better, I would say.
But
I worry if they gave us everything, because it's like, what else do we have?
Don't trust trailers.
No, Craig's right.
You
can't
just like Chaz
trailers.
picking up pizza. Don't trust Chaz or trailers.
Well, when we look into the budget, I believe we saw it was over $200 million that had sunk in so far. So it's around where the Snyder Cut is. You know, Snyder Cut's probably over 300 at this point.
Well, and Boone came out saying that the version they're going to show is his cut, and there was no studio involvement.
Because you have to say that now.
You got to say that. I'm not going to believe until he gets fired, and then we'll hear the
hilarious. And then a couple weeks later, I had a fantastic version. Yeah. Well, is there any anticipation for any segment of this? Like, maybe not the movie itself, but were there scenes in the trailer that looked cool? Jay, you touched on the faceless dudes. Those actually looked kind of interesting. And we got Anya Taylor-Joy with the sword thing, the sword hand.
Right. I thought that was pretty badass.
Decent.
Right. Well, who's the girl who plays Arya Stark? Isn't she in this as well?
Maisie Williams.
Yeah, didn't she?
But the problem with that is she was 8 years old when that was happening. Now she's like 32, and so it's gonna be if the sequel comes out now.
She plays Wolfsbane. She plays a werewolf.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I thought how they showed her was pretty cool, because I was like, wait a second, what is she? You know, like I wanted to do some research, but then I was like, no, because if I go too in depth on it, then that's all I'm gonna talk about today, and I don't want that to be the premise of what I talk about all day today.
Well, we started the thing with this. All I'm saying is I don't like a studio thinking that giving us garbage is worth going and risking our health for. Like Tenet, I can understand wanting to go risk your health for it. But sadly, that and everything else has moved. And that is a segue, ladies and gentlemen, into the next topic. We're talking about every release date that's moved. Avatar's gone.
Yeah,
Marvel's moved. Everything's gone.
And you know what? Now that you bring up Tenet, I was actually just reading it on Variety. They're saying something about Europe getting an August launch.
Yeah,
it's because Europe is smarter than the US.
Yeah, they're not dumb.
Yeah.
Yep. And Chaz, that's where it's a segue where you can jump into the rant that you started on me last night, where unfortunately I took a Tylenol PM and was already drifting to sleep while you were like, and these stupid people with their theories. Please jump in.
You want me to read you a tweet for tweet or not?
You don't. No. You don't have to do that, because it's all of our private sex stuff too. You don't want to add that in there.
No, dude. It frustrates me because like it's like all the movies were relying on Tenet to be the savior, and it's just I don't know. Like the last movies that we got in the last couple of months. I mean, they haven't been anything like super great. You know, like there is like no like fantastic theatrical experience where like we could have been like, oh yeah, now I have this to look forward to, because like I mean Cats is probably like, I mean if you look at Cats and Rise of Skywalker, the two most decisive movies, one was actually truly awful and the other one like people argue about, right? Those are like the last major blockbusters that like people experienced, and like we're not going to get that for another fucking year because people are so stupid.
It's really Craig, do you have anything to say on this? Like
release the butthole cut.
Oh man,
nice.
No, I mean it makes perfect sense that everything's gonna get moved, and also it's about money. Then the movies that are being released, they weren't expecting to make a lot of money, and I'll be honest with you, Bill and Ted is not expected to make a lot of money.
It's all cult following.
Yeah, no, but I think it will make a lot of money. I have a prediction. It's gonna do really well on VOD.
I honestly think anything with Keanu Reeves is gonna make money. I mean,
I also feel that they weren't thinking it was going to be a $200 million blockbuster, so, and it didn't cost a lot to make. So to have them release it, especially the way they're doing it, VOD, it could be like Trolls. Remember Trolls made like $200 million because it was the only thing available?
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Exactly. Yeah. And if anything, Bill and Ted 3 feels like a family adventure film, which is going to draw more people that watch the originals to wanting to bring their kids to watch it with them. Everyone's in quarantine. It might happen that way.
But they're not going to release anything big because they can't afford to. You can't sink $200 million into something and then hope to get it back on VOD.
That's a strange thing. Like, because how long do you delay where you're losing money by delaying too?
Are you?
You're right.
Yeah, if you're not marketing at all, you're not losing money. It's just on the shelves
That's
until
true.
like you get closer, and then you start marketing it, and that's when money comes back.
But
in.
I mean, like affording like to keep the lights on, doing things like that. I'm sure maybe they've got a backup, but
Well, that's why they're putting all these
eventually,
smaller things out. That's why that's why we're getting some of these things released on VOD, because that will keep the lights on. There, it's there's
and didn't they say that for Black Widow 2 and a couple of other movies that are supposed to be coming out that they were supposed to be coming out in March, and now we're supposed to be getting in August, and now Black Widow's been pushed back to when next year?
Yeah, because that's
same thing with Fast and the Furious. You know what I mean? Those are cash cows.
Yeah, that's a Marvel movie. That's going to make $100 million just by no matter how good or bad the movie is. So
they're like, you can have New Mutants, enjoy.
But I do.
that's Marvel right now.
I do want to say that they haven't moved Dune as of now.
So I'm glad he said that, Chaz.
December, but because I don't know. I mean, like December is down the line, it's like 5 months down the line. Maybe the US will pull its head out of its own ass. Part of me doesn't think so, but I mean, maybe it's because that's another Warner Brothers movie. And Tenet, if they push Tenet back a whole year, then maybe they're going to rely on Dune to make money this year. But then, if that's not going to happen, then we're truly fucked this year.
I think winter people are going to shut up a little bit about masks because of how cold it'll get outside. Some people are going to be like, this actually feels kind of nice. This isn't the worst. I really think right now, most of the complaints is because of the sweating. I don't like the sweat under my mouth. Well, sorry. Let's watch movies maybe. Can we?
If you guys would see the back of my neck right now, it looks like a Crunch Bar because the mask part of my it's just sweat. Horrible.
I'm telling you, Gooch looks like too.
Oh, Jesus.
It's political. It's not heat. It's not heat related. It's political. It's people, It's all people complaining about one thing. Because I find most of the people I know are wearing their masks, and even the people I know that have medical conditions wear their masks. Now, people of certain persuasions that I know who don't wear masks vote a certain way, and it's pretty obvious. It's not even like maybe they don't. No, it's pretty political, and it's sad that it is.
I don't know what we're going to do with this. They keep pushing it back because America sucks with being one, which is so weird. Such a weird thing that we can't get together on just science and recognizing facts. But that's the world right now.
I was hoping the comet would hit the super volcano in Yellowstone. Let's go.
I debunked that.
Come on.
We'll be fucked.
It's like we're not now. You keep convincing yourself we're not.
That earthquake happened, and I'm like, oh, it can't get this much worse. And then all of a sudden, like, it's just like, oh, this is going different ways.
Oh man. Well, what do you guys think about the release dates that have moved?
It's
when
smart.
I saw Avatar 5 was moved to 2028, I just was like, that's not a real year. Like, that's not a thing.
Well, I saw a tweet that put in comparison, because I think it's 4 or 5 Avatar movies that James Cameron's trying to work on. That's like the Terminator 2, Aliens, Titanic, True Lies, like all these major blockbuster movies that he's built 20 years of working on to get to where he is now. That's how much that's like the last part of his life though, that he's trying to do this. And my biggest concern is what if they suck?
Well, that's what we thought about Game of Thrones, and we all know how that turned out.
Yeah, but it's James Cameron. I'm not going to bet against him because, I mean, if you look at Avatar is an amazing experience in the movie theater and sucks anywhere else you watch it. Made billions and billions of dollars. And they thought Titanic was going to be garbage. They thought Avatar was going to be garbage. I can't bet against him because he always wins. And so I'll wait.
When he's directly involved, he does, yes.
Yeah.
But in a producer role, he's not the best, I would say. Especially when it comes to his Terminator franchise, he really cashes in and doesn't care too much, I would say.
He just signs off on them, I think. He doesn't even
Yeah. He's like, my signature, and I'll do an ad if you want. How about that?
Yes. He'll crawl out of his cubby hole or out of his submarine and go.
Hold on. Just
somewhere.
He comes up from the bottom of the Mariana.
Have you guys wanted to watch Terminator Genesis? Well, I'm here to talk to you.
Yep.
That's perfect.
This is the best Terminator movie since the last one.
Do you guys remember that time we wanted to really shock you with something? Well, we'll shoot John Connor. Enjoy.
I'm getting out of here. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That was the best part of the movie for me. I thought if they just stayed with that was pretty good. And then they went off and did some stupid stuff.
He did. And I don't know. I'm tired of hearing about Avatar. I'm tired of hearing about just everything getting pushed back because of stupidity. What are you guys hoping for as far as like, what do you think will be the first release to come out? I guess New Mutants, I guess that's the one.
That's going to be pushed back.
Which is exactly how 2020 should be with the movie season. Here you go, New Mutants.
I mean, Bill and Ted's also releasing it in theaters. Are allowing it.
That's true.
Which is kind of, I guess it's kind of smart, but also.
But it'll be after
money
New Mutants, correct? August 28th is what I remember.
Yeah, but August 28th is only planning on releasing it theatrically, not like streaming.
Yeah,
VOD.
so it'll come out before Bill and Ted, though. So it's going to kickstart.
I doubt it.
So we're pretty much.
It's going to kickstart in the sense of everybody that wants to go in there.
Dude, if
we'll go in there. You can't stop people from that. But there's a lot of people like us that will be like, we'll wait for VOD because it's the New Mutants.
Well, I mean, dude, yeah, I mean, if the New Mutants tries to start that off and it makes film history in that sense, I'll be so fucking pissed off. Yeah. I'm like, that's the trash pile that started it all. Like that piece of shit.
I don't think it's got a big enough following to do that. I think that's why they've been delaying it is because it is a fringe New Mutants X-Men kind of property, and they're hoping it does well, but I think it's a risk.
I agree with that. I mean, I think what they're trying to do is hope that it would replace the original X-Men, maybe, if that's the thing.
This is their final. They have this in a trash bag that Fox handed to Disney, and it's just like wiggling around in there. They're like, figure this out. And they're like, oh, well, we got this weird thing. We got to figure out how to make it work, even though this is supposed to be a kickstart for a different universe in Fox's universe. So they don't really know where to go with this.
I say throw that bag in the river.
Yeah. Yep. Drown it like a sack of unwanted kittens.
We got this box, okay? We're going to put all this stuff in the box, and then we just going to throw that bitch in the ocean. We ain't never going to talk about it ever again.
I mean, I think Disney found some value in it somewhere. Otherwise, they would just throw it away.
There's got to be value, right? They had to have done something in there. Does Nick Fury show up? Green screened?
Post credits.
Yeah,
hey,
who knows?
Remember, I got my eye on you.
Well, it would be hilarious if they did try to tie in really loosely in like we're in a different universe, and they'll show Doctor Strange pop in and be like, oh shit, and pop back out. I'm like, wrong one.
Then Deadpool.
Deadpool could work. They could do a Deadpool cameo. That might get someone in.
I'm glad someone said something, because earlier this week, I think there was like an X-Men Zoom call that was broadcast, and it was Sir Patrick Stewart and what's his name? Who played Wolverine? Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ryan Reynolds shows up in their little Zoom thing. Was that this week or last week? It was.
That was like I want to say that was like a month ago, but time.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter.
It's pandemic. It could have happened 3 hours ago. I don't know.
But you know what does matter?
What's that?
Conspiracies. Wanting to know exactly what happens with films that maybe you didn't know. We've got conspiracy theories for y'all asses, and I'm excited to go over it and get away from the news with this, because honestly, the other thing that's been really popular right now is stupid conspiracy theories. And I would like to talk about conspiracy theories, but not about COVID, but about John Wick, about Adam Sandler, about Jar Jar Binks. I want to talk about the weird shit in films that some guy spent years in a basement crafting meticulously on Reddit and then posted it and got 3 upvotes, but those 3 upvotes meant everything to him. I want those. And I've got you guys here who went through the dumpster that is the internet to find some of the best theories around. And I want to start with Chaz's, because he had the shortest time to, I guess, plan for it.
Okay, but this is also a long one.
I'm excited to hear it. Now go as much as you can with summarizing, but if you need to tell it, tell it.
Okay. You guys ready for this? It kind of ties into what we were talking about, and maybe I could tie it back into what we're talking about. Bear with me. John Wick is actually Neo from the Matrix.
Okay. Why?
Boom, right?
Why?
Listen to me.
So basically, it's basically talking about how pretty much was it 2 generations since the one had made peace with like the last events of the Matrix. And I don't want to go into the Matrix trilogy just because like that's a whole other spew of complications and stuff. And like
They'll undo your theory, is what you're saying.
oh, dude, it's I mean these guys go in detail, but basically what they're saying is that I scrolled too motherfucker. Hold on. Okay, so basically what it's saying is 2 generations of freedom for all of mankind, but it was freedom that was not without cost. At first, the peace of Zion held and mankind prospered because the machines met peace and stuff, and everybody prospered. And however, mankind's taste for destruction ended when nearly a fourth of the remaining asleep were wiped out after a devastating nuclear attack between factions. Their goal: forge a peace that would enable mankind to survive. It was clear that the onset that no end to the arguments between the tribes would be forthcoming, and the war between the factions would be taken back to the Matrix. War in the Matrix would minimize the even eliminate all collateral damage. And to ratify the arrangement, it was agreed upon to have the machines bear witness. And they further agreed that when the time came, there were so few humans left in the Matrix that the remainder could all be awakened without a system crash. It would notify the surviving tribes. Okay. So when the gathering of tribes completed the new treaty called the Zion Accords, that was designed to govern the conflict for ascendancy, whatever those are. But anyways, the rules are, the treaty goes, no new human will be artificially created, introduced into a vat. All people will henceforth be born. No harm can be to any human or human artifact outside the Matrix. The only legitimate targets in the Matrix are those that have been awakened and are marked as such. Disputants may choose to bring their issue before the High Table, each tribe having one appointed representative. The decision of the High Table is binding. In Rule 5, when ascension comes from and the Matrix forever ceases, the High Table will determine which tribe has won and has the right to shape the future of all mankind. And any violation.
Okay, so the High Table is the connection to John Wick then. So the High Table is where the lady from John Wick 3 had to report to. That is the big thing. And you're saying that is from the tribes of Zion that are plugging themselves into the Matrix.
Right, because in John Wick, there are factions with each represented by a seat at a High Table, right? And they're all represented by geographic areas. So when surviving humans decided to take their civil war back into the Matrix, they divided up into the remaining living batteries into geographic territories that translated into the Matrix. So whenever a faction won or took over the territory from another faction in the Matrix, the prize is that side recruits when everyone wakes up, okay? So John Wick, as the reincarnation of Neo, is there because the threshold the machines warned about, having enough awakened humans available to be able to do a mass awakening of the rest of humanity, is coming close, and Neo asked to be reinserted back into the Matrix to return at the time. John Wick will ultimately either destroy all the factions or somehow append them and reunite them, so when the remainder of humanity wakes up, there's peace.
Okay, so that's a really loose. I think that's very loose.
That's very
doesn't hold a lot of water, especially when you think about the Matrix.
Okay, but if you consider the action, I'll defend this thing. If you consider the action, how action packed and like how John Wick just goes through and kills everybody. Kind of like
why do the rules in the Matrix change when it's suddenly John Wick in it?
Why?
Yeah,
because you don't want people waking up.
But the Matrix won't be able to adjust how you can bend it and hack into it. It's getting hacked for that very purpose.
Touche. However, I will also argue, I'll tie it back in. Let me tie it back into a full circle. Okay. What if Keanu Reeves and Bill and Ted is actually John Wick and Keanu Reeves in a different section of the Matrix multiverse?
Oh boy.
Dude, you're getting ready.
Well, I think that was a theory. I think we can definitely give it up for it being a theory. And it was sweaty. It was sweaty enough, you know.
I'm sorry for the long-winded words, but it was last minute. I would have
no worries.
Well,
let me pass the baton off to Craig to tell us about what he's got here. What are we doing?
He has loud noises outside.
Oh, loud noises outside. Okay.
I'll do this. The garbage people are here. It's so I can hear myself.
Well, in that case, I'll go to mine then, because I would like to bring up something that has always bothered me within the Harry Potter franchise, let alone, we don't need to talk about J.K. Rowling and the time when really the only thing that she did was harmful was say that wizards shit on the floors instead of going after everybody. She actually had some joy in her life. I don't know. But there's always something that bothered me when it came to the triple threat with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, particularly about Ron and Hermione's connection. Never made sense to me why they were going to be together, and frankly, it seemed forced in the books as well as in the films. Like, Ron's a dick the entire franchise to Hermione, specifically to Hermione. He'll make out with a girl in front of her. He'll make her feel jealous. He's got resentment towards Harry constantly, with whether it be, he's not really outwardly said, like in the first film when he gave him a ton of galleons, that he was like, oh, I'm jealous of your wealth. But that over time could hurt somebody, could affect you, knowing that you can't always provide for stuff. But for this, what if he got so upset about that and the jealousy just boiled and boiled, and he knew that Hermione had some type of connection to Harry, that he just needed to take something for himself. And that's why my theory is that he used the Imperious Curse on Hermione Granger to make her fall in love with him.
So what is the Imperious Curse, Mr. Patrick?
Well, my good friend, I'm so glad you asked. The Imperious Curse from the movie Goblet of Fire talks about the 3 deadly curses. Imperious Curse, funny enough, came from Ron Weasley in the film. He's the one that brings it up. Because why? Because his father is the one that taught him in the ministry. So his father knows the Imperious Curse, and he knows how to do it by that right. And he knows what it looks like as well. Not to mention, where do you think this could happen? Like, the timeline's a little rough. Where could he just suddenly do this? He's a dimwit too with the wand. He can't figure stuff out unless he got that training and he's seen it enough. I would suggest that it happened during Order of the Phoenix, when they were going on a Christmas vacation, if you remember in the book. At one point, they go to bed after a kerfuffle, and Ron and Hermione are upset with each other. Then the next day, it's a complete tonal shift. She's happy to see him. She's joking with him, and a little bit standoffish to Harry. Like, it completely changes in tone and character. So I would suggest that not only did he do it once, but he did it multiple times, because Hermione is such a strong witch that he needed to continue to put her under the Imperious Curse. Now, where does it go from here? Like, how can we confirm that maybe he did this? If you watch the end credit epilogue, where it shows that all his older people watching, look specifically at Ron. He is a tortured soul. He looks like he's drowned 5 cats somewhere and smiled doing it, but has never felt good from that day on. And I think it's because he's guilty about what he did. And he's lived a life of regret and hate. And Ron Weasley, he's a real Chad, people. It's gotten quiet.
No, I will go with that, because I've always thought Ron Weasley was the most apt named person in the episode, in any of these. I never thought Hermione would tolerate Ron, never mind fall in love with him. So the fact that they're friends is suspicious. Never mind that they fall in love near the end. I mean, I always thought Harry Potter was keen on her, but the only problem I had, Emma Watson is a very talented and beautiful actress, but when she was 6, 7, 8, how old she was, she always had that little pencil thin mustache that always threw me, that, that little girls get. And so I was like, what is going on? I don't see how I give him.
I can't do it. No.
So I just figured that she was probably just going to go off and become the best wizard in the world, and those 2 guys were complete screw ups. But yeah, Ron Weasley, I wouldn't put it past him. He probably spiked your drink and did all kinds of weird stuff.
So here's the thing, though. So I don't know if I'm going to get some flack for this, but
as long as you don't go full JK, as they say.
Oh, no, nothing along those lines. But Ron Weasley is actually one of my favorite characters in the books.
Of course he is, Mr. Pineapple Pizza.
And like,
So
agree. I could see the points, Patrick, and like I was reading through the thread that you had sent over,
which I summarized quite brilliantly. No,
you did, and this thread even included a TLDR. How nice! If you're gonna do a fucking fan theory, TLDR will save it.
That's how you know they spend enough time in it, where they're like, all right, I gotta summarize this.
But like, I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on it, because like, I always thought that like they would make a cute couple. I don't know, but maybe like my skew or my view on relationships is kind of skewed. I don't know.
You know what it is? It feels to me exactly like how 500 Days of Summer felt when you first watched it to when you watch it now. In the beginning, there's a little bit of like, oh, love and like heartbreak and stuff. Then you watch it again, you're like, this guy was a dick. This lady just gave him the rules. You know, I'm not interested in a relationship, and he was still a dick to her through the whole thing. It completely changes 180. And when you think about Ron's relationship with Hermione, it is not based in an adult, respectful relationship where both of them can grow as people. Like, it was constantly demeaning and degrading to her. Like, ever since doing like spells, he was an asshole. Like, he was never good with her. Leviosa. You know? I win. I don't know. I
don't think you do. I think we still have to hear Craig's and Jay's.
Yes, we have Craig and Jay's. That's enough about Ron.
Yeah, fuck Ron. But I like Ron.
Fuck Ron.
Fuck Ron Weasley.
That's going to be our tag for the end of this.
Fuck you! I'm trying to help you, motherfucker.
Craig, what was your? Because we saw a snippet and you gave us your clue with Willy Wonka, but tell us more about what you have.
So now that the people are gone, I had some people outside my window on Fridays. It's not good, but I went with and you have to go with the original Willy Wonka, not this Johnny Depp creepy Michael Jackson bullshit. Where you go with the original Gene Wilder, great Willy Wonka. And the theory is that Willy Wonka was a serial killer who, in very much a Saw, almost Seven kind of way, as he's killing these kids by the 7 deadly sins. And he is grooming Charlie to take his place as a serial killer. So let's start off in chronological order. It starts off with the little fat kid, Augustus Gloop. I like a chocolate, Augustus Gloop. He's a little fat kid and he falls into the chocolate river, right? Now, yes. So is Willy Wonka worried that he falls in the chocolate river? No. So the kid can't swim. His mother says so. He can't swim. He goes underwater for an extremely under chocolate, not even underwater, under chocolate, a viscous, thick liquid, gets clogged into the tube, right? He's stuck there without oxygen for quite a while. Then what happens? Almost like a sonic boom, the suction builds and builds and builds and sucks this fat little German sausage through the pipes.
Ooh, keep talking. Keep talking about that German sausage. No.
Wow.
You were so descriptive. I loved it. Viscous.
Well, yeah, and so the suction alone is going to rupture that kid's eardrums, right? Deaf. So the kid at the very least is deaf. But he has now been trapped without air for several minutes. He is now going through a series of tubes. Where he comes out, nobody knows, and certainly not in a very fast fashion. There's probably only one exit in that big chocolate tube. By the time they pull out his fat German butt, he's dead. That's the first kid. The other thing you have to remember is each time they move to another transport, so it starts off on the boat and then they get into a little car, there's always exactly enough room for the kids that are there. Like he has planned to lose a child at every
that's
stop.
fascinating.
Dude, that's terrifying.
But here's my question, because I could totally admit to the fact that he's definitely got serial killer tendencies, as well. It just doesn't care about kids, if that's the truth. Like, he doesn't mess with the adults too much. It's mainly kids he goes after, right? But I don't see where the grooming comes in.
Hold on, we haven't got there yet.
Okay.
That's at the end.
All right.
So you got
because I don't see him pointing at the pipe going, look, you see how he did that?
Oh, no, actually, it wasn't even that. See how he did that. It
had to be subliminal.
No, it's more of see that kid deserved that. So now what he's doing is every kid has done something wrong. And so he's trying to teach Charlie that these are justified killings.
Fuck you! I'm trying to help you, motherfucker.
Yeah. So then we get to the little bratty girl. I want it now, and she falls through the golden goose trap. Now, if you listen to her fall, it is quite a long. So she probably either broke her legs or died on impact. But she was killed. She landed on a bunch of refuse. She's gone, and she was greedy. So we're teaching about gluttony. We're teaching about greed. Then we get to Violet, who is obnoxious with her chewing gum. And so she ends up taking the blueberry chewing gum, or I guess they were meals. They were full-fledged meals. And she started to swell up. Now, they said they de-juiced her. Really? It was a bloodletting. they sacrificed this girl, they squeezed her to death, and she is gone. And even if she's not gone, she's stretched out so much. You've seen really heavy people lose weight, especially fast. What happens? She's going to have all this loose skin, and she's going to be so deformed.
Like Clayface and Batman.
Exactly.
Yep.
So she's been horribly deformed at the very least, but most likely she's been killed.
Mm-hmm.
Then we move on to TV Mike, who gets shrunk. Remember TV Mike?
Oh, I know him. I played him in the high school play we did for Willy Wonka.
So how did they fix TV Mike?
Oh, they shrunk him in a TV. So they never really fixed him. They just rolled the TV off stage in our play.
Well, there's a line that says, "Don't worry, he's going to get stretched."
Oh.
Which apparently Willy Wonka.
In the taffy room, right?
Yep. So Willy Wonka believes that just no matter, you could be taller if you just stretched. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. Now, my best piece of evidence to all of this is what happens at the end of every suspicious death. Well,
Loompa, loompa, doompa dee doo.
Actually a coordinated.
Charlie, are you watching? Song. This what you'll do.
Yeah, a coordinated dance and song comes out because it was prepared. They knew what they were doing. They were ready for it. And like I said, each time we move along, we get to a smaller and smaller group. And how do they dispose of them? Fizzy drink. It goes up to the propeller up to, and they have to burp their way down, but they can't. He goes out of his way to say, "Don't drink this. Don't drink this. This is bad." Well, what do you do when you highlight something like that?
Well, you bring up a good point regarding the Oompa Loompas, because if there's a change in leadership, how do you earn the respect of Oompa Loompas if you're just a snot-nosed kid? And why not just leave the doing and the bidding up to a committee of Oompa Loompas to do all of your killing for you?
You can't do anything by committee. You have to have a leader. And you can't rely on a bunch of Oompa Loompas. They're slave labor. You can't assume they're going to be good. You just got to tell them what to do and they'll do it. You have to brainwash them. It's Stockholm syndrome. And that's what he's doing with Charlie, is he's explaining how these kids deserve to die. And then at the very end, he takes takes it away, saying, "Oh, you drank this and I have to go clean the roof. You guys, you forfeit you get nothing." Mm. And then because Charlie's like, "Oh, I really want this," he's like, "I'm good at this," and all that. He proves that he will be reliable and trustworthy and loyal. He ends up getting the factory because that was the final test to see if he actually brainwashed Charlie. Now, this is not my theory. This is just me recapping in my own way. But I really believe that Willy Wonka could easily have been a serial killer that was killing people left and right, and then was going to leave the factory to another serial killer, almost like a Dexter situation.
But Craig, question for you.
Yeah.
What if Willy Wonka was just a puppet and there was a man behind the curtain the whole time and it's connected to Wizard of Oz?
I'm not going to disavow that one. It could be. So, but at the end, we all know Willy Wonka killed several people.
Yeah.
At no point did he seem upset. Please don't.
I'm looking up cult recruitment steps when it comes to when people are initiating people into cults. And there's some interesting stuff in here. Let me take a look. So dependency is one thing that they really emphasize. You have to be dependent on the person in there. Willy Wonka locks them in.
Yep.
They put them through an impossible door. And of course, there's no way that they can get out. Through the boat is like a complete manipulation of messing with their senses. They have no idea what they hear, smell, taste.
Well, to go along with that, he gave out golden tickets that only 5 people could go. So automatically they feel special and entitled. So once they actually step foot into the chocolate factory, they're much more suggestible because they feel like they deserve to be there. They're special. And this is an honor. So whatever happens after that point, they're less likely to push up against.
Yes, desire for spiritual meaning, a need to believe that life has a higher purpose is that golden ticket. And gullibility, a tendency to believe what someone says without really thinking about it, that's basically what they're putting them through. They don't have time to even process the deaths because they're going right into the next thing.
And Charlie's the most gullible person there is because Uncle Joe or Grandpa Joe pretended to be fucking dumb and laying in bed for 6 years. And then as soon as he got the golden ticket, he's dancing. He's jumping around. There was nothing wrong with Joe. he was just pretending, and he duped Charlie. And as soon as he found another meal ticket, he went for it.
Pretty much what you're saying is he was being lazy.
He was lazy, but he was also cunning.
What if Willy Wonka was actually Grandpa's like long lost forgotten nephew? And
well, that's a great question, because Grandpa went through the same initiation and survived like Charlie. So why isn't he a killer? And what was the big difference between the two? And why didn't he see it or stop it? Is Grandpa a part of this because he was paid to bring the kid in? And he
Grandpa
needed a
is
handler.
the man behind the curtain.
I don't think so. I think Uncle Joe, Grandpa Joe is.
He could be a pawn.
He's a barnacle. He is just
paid off barnacle. He could be just like Slugworth.
Oh man.
He wants a free meal and
maybe more than one bed.
Yeah. You gotta kill a couple of snotty shits to get free meals. So be it. So I think Grandpa Joe is indifferent.
Do you think Grandpa Joe would kill Charlie for a second bed?
Probably for lunch.
About to say,
it was going to get to that point. Yeah. Well, I think that's a very strong theory, especially when we look up the facts, the hardcore science about cultism. Let's go to Jay, because you got something that we all have seen stuff with Captain America, but apparently there's more to it.
Yeah, the way I see it, and this is my own personal theory. I just want to throw that out there. This is what I truly believe, and possibly still might happen even now. So, as you know, at the end of Endgame, Captain America hands his shield off to Sam Wilson, making him the new Captain America. We also have Bucky Barnes, who is still in the picture for Captain America, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's coming out on Disney Plus, as we know. Now, here is where things for me start to kind of come into fold, where Chris Evans as Captain America still will be in effect in this series, because the government, as we all know, the plot for the Winter Soldier and the Falcon and Winter Soldier has been released already, technically already.
Oh, we'll read it for the people that don't know it. And spoilers if you don't want to know anything about this.
Spoiler alert. The government comes out with their own version of Captain America, and they take the shield away from Sam. And I think that at this point, they're going to bring in another... they want to make their own superhero again to kind of replace Captain America, instead of using someone that Cap has picked to pass on the mantle. But I think with the infinite possibility of the time suit that he used to go back to become Old Man Cap, he might possibly come back to become Captain America again, because the one that the government chose after they took the shield away from Sam Wilson is going to be like a Hydra type agent or something, or rather, because, and here's where I came up with this theory, because I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So wait, this is an original theory that you came up?
This is what I'm coming up
Wow,
with.
okay. Well, that's kind of beat all three of us, because we just were like, what can we find? We found it.
I'm using this based off of what I'm seeing, because this is actually the final season for Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's coming down to the last few episodes, I believe. So that's why I came up with this theory about Captain America, and then the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, with the government picking their own Captain America instead of the one that Steve Rogers picked for, Sam Wilson. And stuff
so the
like
theory is that Hydra has infiltrated the government and have brought their own?
Still.
Okay, it's from Hydra. Okay.
And that is from Hydra. And that's why I've come up with the theory that I came up with. And the way that I put this together, it's starting to add up with everything from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and this season. I don't want to give away too much if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't been paying attention or watching or read any synopsis, but that's why I came up with the theory that Captain America, Chris Evans, Captain America, Steve Rogers is going to come back at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier as Captain.
So it's only a one series thing? They're just going to give the shield right back to Cap?
I think he's going to take it back.
Interesting.
That's my theory. That like I said, I don't want to catch any slack from nobody. I don't hear no shit, because this is
well, we can't give shit because I don't honestly have the context with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know exactly why it's, because to me it feels like that's treading on Winter Soldier again, and just we're rehashing the same thing. But if Agents of Shield has a lot to say with this,
which is why I said it's my own personal theory.
Yeah.
Based off of what I've seen so far.
Well, I think between all of our theories, I can say for sure Craig's is the most interesting, because we can just
hands down
at every single death that we want.
The goddamn golden ticket, man. That
you have
that
the most relevance
right
to yours, where we very likely are going to see the fruits of your theory come out soon, and from there we can come. Yeah.
My only concern is that when it comes to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's a one-way street. The Marvel Cinematic Universe only affects Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The stuff that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not affect anything with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
that's why that they're focusing the originals to connect to the universe rather than ABC to connect. But they've had Lady Sif show up, right?
Right.
Didn't Nick Fury show up for an episode 2, I believe?
He showed up for 2 episodes.
Right. It's a one-way street. It goes to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not affect anything that happens in the movie.
And I think the reason why they strayed away from that, and I think it's because right after Josh Whedon stopped directing all of the Marvel Avengers movies, and he also stopped directing some of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes, I think that's when they stopped focusing on tying the show in with the movies. So,
gotcha.
I think
again, it's the one that we're going to find out the quickest, whether it works or not.
Yeah.
Chaz's theory honestly is the next that could happen, because we never really talked about this with yours, Chaz, because I was dismissive and I shouldn't have been. Matrix 4 is coming out, and it very well could tie in, because it's not letting John Wick make its film until it finishes its. Could there be a continuity reason why?
No, it's a contract thing, but yeah.
I was about to say, I do have a question about that. Are they both being done by Warner Brothers?
Yes.
I
think
so. Is John Wick Lionsgate?
John Wick?
John Wick's Lionsgate. Ignore me.
John Wick is Lionsgate.
Oh, okay. That's why I was asking.
The connection they do have, though, is Chad Stahelski.
And way more than that. Lawrence Fishburne in it. There's a lot of stuff
as well.
Dude, fuck.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne
I didn't even touch on
could
that.
just be Morpheus. And here's the thing: you read an article, but just thinking about it, you garnered way better theories and start. Yeah, Morpheus being involved could work.
And here's the thing with that, Chaz. What's to say that Carrie-Anne Moss isn't going to make an appearance in John Wick 4?
Dude, I'd shit myself. I'd be like,
I want to see Joey Pants.
Can it be John Wick forever? It needs to be, right?
I mean,
dude, they can make as many John Wick movies as they want, as long as they keep elevating the action.
It's the new James Bond, where it's gonna keep going, because they're gonna have that. It has that style, you know. It's so unique to itself that,
like, the second Keanu Reeves retires from the role, the movie's over. There's no reviving it.
I mean, they said that about Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, but there's easily
we still don't know.
I haven't seen a Wolverine movie since.
Well,
good point.
I don't think anyone said it with Batman either. By the way, I've watched Batman Begins and The Dark Knight so far today in this room.
Fantastic,
oh man,
right?
So great.
Yeah, you can't beat that, man.
Can't beat those films, really. And when you think about it, never mind, we're not talking about this.
Oh, let's talk about it.
I don't want to talk about Ben Affleck's Batman, but I don't want to talk about it.
Well,
I think we had the best theories out there, folks. I want to know what your theories are while we've been talking and geeking out about this. Leave them down below. Let me know. I want to thank my co-host and my guest for being here. Craig, you've got Matinee Heroes coming up soon. Tell the people a little bit about what the show is and where we can find it.
Matinee Heroes. Every Saturday morning, we have a new episode. It's a audio podcast every Saturday, where myself and usually my co-host Alan Cerny, who is a film reviewer, but oftentimes it is people not unlike yourself, Patrick. We just haven't found a spot for you yet. But we review movies, classic movies that have great heroes in them. Like we just did, coming up tonight at midnight is going to be Inception. So because we just finished up Christopher Nolan month, no lie, as we call it.
Nice.
So done, we did The Prestige, which is a fantastic movie. We did Dunkirk. We did The Dark Knight Rises, and we'll have Inception wrapping it up for the end of this month. And then what we usually do is we review the movie, we talk about it, analyze it, about the heroics of it, Then we recast the movie, which is where we got Cast Off from, which is a video offshoot. Then we put a double feature to it. What movie would go great with Inception, and then that's the show. It's a great spot. We've done it live in front of audiences, and then the Cast Off, which is in its playoffs version right now, which you're participating in.
Yes.
I believe you are August 4th.
Well, it's really interesting because it wasn't originally going to be me being a part of this. I was in the introductory episode, and I got my ass handed to me because I chose wrongly with going with Schwarzenegger and Stallone for Thor and Loki on the event.
Fumbled the goal line.
I thought it would be fun. Okay, I get it.
Patrick.
I get it. All right.
I don't like Marvel. I know that's a fuck up.
Yeah, I watched that episode too. I'm like, what is he doing?
You smoke enough in quarantine, you think you're prophetic, and you're like, oh, this is going to be incredible. And then you do the show, and you're like, oh no, that's not at all what everyone else is thinking.
Well, I did something new where the problem was I started out with 3 people each show and realized, I don't like a lot of people, so I don't have enough friends to do this. So I better go to 2. And so as soon as
I feel that.
When I went to 2, what I did is I looked back at the past episodes that had 3, and I went, well, Valerie won, Patrick almost won, and I can't remember the third person, but they really lost. So I'll ask Patrick if he wants to come back, and we'll just pretend he wasn't part of it. And so you came on a second time and won yours, and then we started. So we had 8 episodes, and then we're doing a playoff, which is it starts off our final round. We did all of July. Our last one will be up. It'll be Tracy Mangum from Utah versus Brian Huanawato,
who's going to be a guest next week, by the way, Tracy.
Oh, Tracy's great. Hopefully he will not be depressed. I don't know how he turns out, but hopefully he's got a chance at winning. He's a really good recast.
We've got a sound effect for either outcome.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, man.
But we've got so you've made it to the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be August 4th between you and Valerie Cameron.
It's the rematch from the original episode. So there's a little bit of pressure on it. And now there's a storyline, we got a little bit of a story arc going.
Well, Tracy Mangum is still alive. And if he happens to make it, there's also the potential of them meeting at the end. And they're on the same podcast together on Movies That Make Us.
Ooh.
But it all ends on August 23rd, where we have a special Sunday night battle. But whoever wins for the champion to be named the best caster or recaster on the internet.
And by the way, Craig, I just want to say Cast Off was a really great idea. I had fun coming up with my own type of deal while I was watching and listening to you guys, man. It's really good. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys must tune in. It's really great.
Well, I thank you. It's one of our, we do it every week on the podcast, not in competition form, but we do it every week on every episode of Matinee Heroes. And we were going to do this as a panel, as a game show between some podcasters live at FanX, but we all know how that turned out.
Yeah.
So I just decided to practice with video and try to do it live. I was hoping to get to sophisticated enough and an audience enough so the audience votes live versus me having to do it.
Well, I think that comes with the more that we're building it. And again, I'm really looking forward to coming back onto that show. Thank you again for having me on it. Jay, let's talk about it, your show. You've been working on some things. You're on vacation right now, though, but where can people find you?
You guys can find me on jmore021 on Instagram and also jmore on Facebook. We're actually discussing how to put together episode 2 now, being is that we can't really all be in the same place at the same time right now. So we might be doing a whole Zoom thing. I do plan to have Patrick and Chaz on for hopefully the next episode. I'm working on that too. So episode 2 is definitely coming. So please keep a lookout for it. It's just all planning. It's been a little busy, but your boy has to relax too. So
yep. Well, and Chaz, you've got the why am I already messing this up? Over and Under Artists Exposed. It's on episode 23. It's in the 20s, no? Or 17?
No, it's 17. Episode 17 came out tonight. And so it's a weekly podcast. I talk with artists about the highs and lows of pursuing art as a passion. Pretty straightforward. It's pretty fun. It's pretty chill to be yourself.
It's fun. And it's fun to have you on the show with me and doing all of this great stuff and having cool people on the show to talk about weird shit.
Fuck yeah, dude. You can follow me on Instagram and the Twitterverse, and that's all I got for you, dude.
Very cool. Well, and again, make sure that you like, subscribe, rate the podcast, the live show, wherever you can follow us, patrickbeattyreviews.com. Thank you again, as always, for watching, and we will see you at the next review.